What up, y'all? YaBoyRoshi, and I'm back with the next update on my One Piece journey. The last I left off, CP9 absolutely bodied the Straw Hats, and Sanji is now on the train headed toward Enies Lobby. So I'm not gonna ramble on and on and on. We're just gonna go ahead and get right into this thing this time. So after the train left for Enies Lobby, Nami found a note from Sanji saying he had boarded the train. On the train, Sanji immediately gets into trouble and is on a train car full of asshole Marines. The most notable of which was Jerry of CP5. Why he was that big, I don't know, but Sanji deals with him swiftly as expected. Now back in Water 7, everyone continues to look for Luffy and Zoro due to the incoming high tide. At this point, all the water recedes, basically meaning that massive waves are headed their way. Nami finally spots Luffy trapped between a building and Chopper finds Zoro in a chimney. With the hype from the good news about Robin, Luffy supermans his way out from between the buildings and Zoro breaks out of the chimney with the use of his cursed blade just in time to escape the Aqua Laguna's waves. Nami fills Luffy in on the details and the crew wants to leave immediately, obviously. Paulie tells them there's no way to get them across the Aqua Laguna, but they insist on leaving ASAP. Nami mentions the Gate of Justice. Once you pass through, you either go to the Marine headquarters or Impel Down, which is an island housing all kinds of dangerous criminals. This is Robin's fate once she reaches Enies Lobby, which has no sympathy for criminals. Kokoro basically tells them if they are so determined to put their lives on the line, she will get the sea train started for them so that they can cross the Aqua Laguna. Meanwhile, Sanji is still making his way through the train cars, kicking everyone's ass before he runs into Usopp and Frankie. Kokoro brings the gang to the Rocketman sea train, which Iceberg was already getting prepped for them. The Rocketman was actually a prototype sea train that can't be slowed down, so basically, in short, they can all die riding this thing. Now, Frankie's men also show up begging to get on the train to save Frankie, and Luffy agreed to let them aboard because of their determination. Paulie also snuck on the train, so at this point we've got a pretty stacked house. While on the train, the Straw Hats, Galileo members, and Frankie family all put their differences aside to fight the common enemy, and at that point my hype meter was building up, looking forward to it. Sanji makes contact with Nami and explains how bad the situation has become due to Frankie and Usopp now being a part of the equation. The Rocketman train runs into a little problem, about to crash into a giant wave, so what Luffy and Zoro decide to do is team up for a 300-pound siege cannon to clear a path through. Nami patches Sanji through to Luffy, and Luffy gives him full permission to go ham on the train until they arrive. Frankie decides to lend a helping hand, and Usopp learns about Robin's sacrifice, only to say he won't help them since it's no longer his duty after leaving the Straw Hats. Deep down, he clearly regrets what he said back at Water 7 and feels like he wouldn't be accepted after what went down. Then he shows back up in a fucking mask under the alias Soga King like they don't realize it's him. He's really trying to sell this character, but Sanji and Frankie just don't have time for the bullshit. This man's pure comedy. Now back on the Rocketman, Nami reveals her new perfect Climattack, which was designed by Usopp. It was upgraded with dials, which is pretty dope. How many of those things did this guy take exactly from Skypiea? I'm curious. So now Sanji and Usopp and Frankie's plan was pretty clever, tricking all the Marines into rushing toward the last car, then disconnecting it from the train. Moving on, they went into CP7's fighting expert cook, Wanzi. And this guy was ahead of his time. He hit Sanji with that SpongeBob mockery before it was even a thing. Wanzi proceeded to mock them and basically make them look silly, until Sanji dodged his fighter skate attack and kicked him 12 times. And that was hilarious because I wasn't expecting that at all. They didn't even show the kicks. I laughed for about probably like 2 minutes straight after I read that. Now meanwhile, outside the train, Frankie runs into Nero of CP9 and Usopp catches up with Robin in car 1 of the train. Robin is still trying to stick to her guns, but Usopp gives her the real and lets her know that since everyone knows her true motive for quitting the group, they will find her enemies and lay down the beats. Now back in car 4, Sanji is facing off against Wanzi, who's now wearing this disgusting ramen suit. Since he's using food as a battle weapon, Sanji is able to break his rule about not using his hands and knives in battle. The Rocketman continues to get closer and comes across the 2 disconnected train cars. After investigating and finding it to be full of Marines, Luffy has Zoro cut the cars in half to clear the path. Right after, they encounter T-Bone, who was pretty pissed off about being tricked off the sea train. Zoro tells him to move out of the way, but T-Bone insists he will cut the Rocketman in half in the name of justice. Yeah, we already knew how that was going to end for him. Now Franky's battle with Nero is heating up. Nero mentions he hasn't completed his training yet, which makes sense as to why he's not with the rest of CP9. Franky then transforms, which again is something I was not expecting. Sanji finally finishes off Wanzi for good and kicks him straight into Car 2, running into CP9. And at this point, I'm pretty sure he's about to have a bad time. Now the Franky and Nero fight continues. Nero appeared to have the upper hand, but Franky's cyborg body came in pretty clutch, giving him the upper hand for a nice finish. In an unexpected twist, Rob Lucci showed just how savage he is by completely eliminating Nero for failing to capture Franky. I mean, he did give him a chance to run though, so it's not his fault. He should have known better. RIP my nigga Nero. So Sanji brings up a great point that CP9 is supposed to be agents of justice, but they're clearly a bunch of assholes, before lunging at Lucci during his speech about how Nico Robin should still be killed for the greater good of the world. Robin joins the mix and Usopp throws a smoke bomb that catches everyone off guard while he makes off with Nico Robin. Franky sacrifices himself to break the third car away to help them escape, but apparently this man Bluno can make doors out of atmosphere, and he shows up on the detached car train, bodies Sanji, pokes Usopp, and retrieves Robin. This devil fruit ability is OP, basically like a dimensional ability. Right before she leaves, Usopp tells her to have faith in Luffy, which I loved because even though they had their seasoned beef, he still believes in Luffy's leadership and obviously values him as a friend. The train approaches Enies Lobby at this point. So this part was pretty cool. It was like a little transitional arc. So much chaos was going on and I loved it. In the case of Usopp, in all honesty, he's too likable for me to stay mad at him long. And the Soga King act was a cool way of him pretty much saying, yeah, I know I fucked up. You guys probably don't fuck with me anymore, but I still want to help out. The inclusion of Wanzi was questionable, to be honest. Not sure that was really necessary. Seemed to be some comic relief, but Usopp was already filling that void. The ramen shit was actually kind of gross. Robin still sticking to her guns shows me how honorable of a character she is. She's definitely a real asset to the team. Now in regards to Bluno, his devil fruit ability is OP. He can basically walk between dimensions, which was unexpected and like a nice bonus ability for him. That won't stop the Straw Hats though, so onward to all the smoke. Now if you enjoyed this series, give me a like and sub to the channel. Also consider becoming a patron. That comes with some nice perks attached, like the possibility of winning this figure. Follow on all my socials at YaBoyRoshi on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And check out my merch store. The link to that is down below in the description as well. But that's all I got for you guys today. But stay tuned. The next episode is coming very, very soon. Alright, y'all. Peace out.